Welcome back, friends. So previously we installed this Bestop spare tire organizer on my spare tire, and I think it's time to do a review and check out how it's fared. It's been through quite some weather. As you can see, it's definitely not as clean as it used to be when it first went on. It's been through a lot of dirt, mud, rain, basically everything you can hit in summers. It's been through quite a few states and on a few trips now. So I think it's time to dismantle it, take it apart, and see how I like it, see what's went wrong, see what went right, and then you can decide if this is something you like. So let's take a look at it. All right, first let's take a look at the material and the construction of the actual tire organizer thing. The main material on here is quite good. It's the same material your Bestop, like your soft tops, are made out of. So it's very waterproof, it's very rugged, very resistant. You can see the thing has had a lot of dirt and a lot of rain on it. And honestly, if you were to take water and like hose this thing down, it would become very clean. In fact, you can see under here where dust hasn't made its way to, just how clean it would be, which is kind of cool. They're very sun resistant. I don't see any fading when I do wash it off. I don't see where it's faded at all yet, and that's a pretty big thing out here. Being near Death Valley, the #1 killer of things is the sun, and it does destroy things faster than most people think. It's really impressive, actually. The bags are made out of the same material that the actual tire organizer carrier piece is, so that's kind of cool. And they're pretty waterproof, actually, as long as you keep these flaps down. Now you can't take the bags and dunk them in water because it's got a zipper, but if you have these little flaps covering the zipper here down, and you're driving or they get downpoured on, you're not going to get any water inside at all. At least that's been my experience. Also, they're pretty dust proof, which is really nice. You hardly get any dirt in here, minus what I get in here from throwing stuff in and out of these, and not had any problem. So I like that. I like that the bags aren't a different material. I like that they're tough, and they'll last just as long as the carrier will. Now, let's take a look at one of the negatives, and it's going to be these straps here. We actually use these quite a bit. It's nice to throw your chairs or tables right on top of this thing and strap it down. Now, they haven't succumbed to UV rays yet. They're still black. They still look good. You know, they're dusty, obviously, but nothing's broken or anything yet on them. But I can see this plastic and this type of, I don't know if that's neoprene or whatever that is, just your basic standard black straps that you get. I could see this deteriorating pretty quickly in the sun at some point and start fraying and stuff. It just doesn't seem like it's going to be very durable. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe they'd put some special coating on it or it's some different material, but it just kind of seems that same style strap, like that your trash bags are made out of, your trash roos and stuff, that, you know, the sun will just hit it enough and eventually it'll just rot it away. Just my opinion on that. With that, though, I can get over those not being used or rotted away, but there's one thing that I cannot get over, and it is the biggest problem on this thing. So let's take a look at that. Now, one thing you will notice is that I don't have this bag on here anymore, and it's a problem with the TJ specifically. There's two reasons I don't. One, you put this bag on here and you basically can't reach this handle. You have to come and awkwardly fish your hand back here, reach this thing, and it's just a pain, so I took this bag off. Now, you could run the bag on the other side without a problem, except you see this bend here. Well, this is a function of me running narrow tires. When you put this bag on a tire that's too narrow and you tighten the back strap, this bag wants to twist behind it, and because of that, these mounting strips here, they twist and distort in a way where I actually physically can't get the bag to reliably hang on there. And I could show you that, actually. So here it is. Here's one of my bags. I have honestly, these things are really nice, so I just keep my recovery gear in them now. Just keep them on the inside. But if I were to hang this thing on here, you can see that it's actually bending this clip and just going to allow it to flop off like that. Now, I do have a lot of weight in these things, so maybe that's not fair, but I noticed it actually on our honeymoon trip, and what I saw is the bag starting to come off, and the reason that is because this little mounting strip isn't straight. I don't know if that's a problem with the organizer design itself, or it's a problem because I have narrow tires. I want to say it's because I have narrow tires, so it's a little bit my fault, but still. If you're running anything narrower than 11.5-inch tire, I would say that this probably is not going to work too well for you if you want to run these bags. Now, on the flip side, these bigger bags that I can't actually put on the spare tire organizer are awesome. I use them for all sorts of recovery gear. I just throw the stuff in there. This one's not very organized because I was using stuff, but that has straps in it. It also has snatch blocks in there, 2 of them, pretty heavy ones. And the bag seems to handle the weight just fine. Of course, it is sitting flat on my floorboard here, but they're really cool. I wish you could just buy these bags on their own, honestly, because even if I take the spare tire carrier off or the organizer, I'm going to keep these and chuck them in here to store recovery gear and various other things. They're just super handy to have, quick to access. They have perfect amount of space. They hold their shape. This one doesn't even have they come with these pieces that you slip in here to hold their shape. This one doesn't even have them in, and it still holds their shape really well. And it kind of just keeps everything nice and neat, easy to grab with the handle on the back. I like it. I like these a lot. So the bags on the system are pretty awesome. I really like them. And Bestop, make these bags so we can just buy them, maybe without the clip, because these things are a trick. I like these. And I like how tough the material is. It really means I can put gear in there and not worry about tearing the bag up, especially when it comes to heavy recovery gear. All right, here's a better shot of the back and how the system mounts. You basically have one big strap that goes around the bottom of the tire, and then you have this tensioning strap on the side here. Now, I've tried to adjust this thing a few different ways, and this is a better shot of what's going on here with this mounting bar, how it's twisted around my tire. And this is honestly my biggest gripe with this thing, is that I can't have those 2 side bags. One of the problems is, again, the TJ tailgates are short, and I'm running a 33-inch tire, which is kind of narrow, or kind of small, and this thing is kind of narrow, the tire anyway. So I believe these are built for much bigger tires. This one is designed for a 33 to a 35, but I don't think it's designed for a narrow tire is the problem. And they don't really tell you that. And so when you go to tension this strap down to get any kind of movement out and get it secure, you're running into this problem here, at least if you're running a narrower tire. Now, I believe if you were to run a wider tire, like I said before, if you're running 11 or 12.5-inch wide tire, your tire would be so wide that when you go to pull these down, that you probably would not have that problem. Quality-wise, the whole thing seems to be pretty well. It is nice that it covers the tire. It does come off quick if you have to change a tire. It's only 2 clips. It's this guy right here, then the one on the bottom of the tire, and I've not had any of them break or had issues with them holding tension. One thing, kind of like the, I don't know, the Trasharoo has a pretty big name for doing this, where it kind of tilts off to the side. This will do that if you don't get these straps tight enough, which is why this one is so tight. If you don't do that and you put too much weight on one side, the whole thing will just shift around the tire eventually. So you do have to get them decently tight. So one last downside to this thing, and this is kind of unique to my Jeep and just how it's set up, and I have to explain it first so you understand, but I'm running this aftermarket tire carrier here. It's kind of cool. And because of that, it kind of shifts the tire slightly towards the passenger side. It does that so when you're running a bigger tire, you can get to your handle to open the tailgate easier. Pretty normal, it's not too far off, but because of that, when you go to run these bags, you completely obscure your tail light here. I think this is unique to the TJ. The TJ is just a very narrow body to begin with, and pushing this tire over to this side a little bit takes any available space over here. I think if you had something like a JK, definitely a JL, you'd probably totally be fine, since there's a lot more body width there and the taillights are further from the tire to begin with. It's kind of a unique problem to me, but just know that if you do have a TJ and you go to install this one on, it's very possible that the bag on the passenger side you won't be able to use, only because it's likely that you will block this tail light, which is just unfortunate. And this is a 33 by 10.5 by 15. So if you have a smaller tire than that, like a 31, let's say, probably won't have a problem. But anything bigger than that, you're probably going to have a problem. So I wanted to give you some of my final thoughts on this thing. And that is that I like it. I really do like it. And I want to keep liking it. But it's kind of a disappointment, which sucks. The fact that I can't have the 2 biggest bags for, like, in my case, recovery gear to go on the outside attached to it, it's a pretty big letdown. Honestly, at this point, the only thing it really carries is a roll-up table that goes on the top, and the chairs, as you saw, that go in here. It's kind of just a glorified carrier for those at this point, for me anyway. And again, this is kind of custom to my Jeep, right? So my Jeep has some unique oddities to work around. I have narrow tires, it's kind of shifted to this side a little bit, the spare tire is, and so that makes this thing a little bit less useful than a normal person. I think that if you had a Jeep with a wide tire, like 12.5-inch wide tire, and probably had something newer than a TJ, this thing would work perfectly for you, because then you're not blocking lights or anything. And actually, why I'm thinking about that, probably the perfect thing for this would be something like an overland trailer. I built that Jeep trailer out of a Datsun pickup bed, and this would go great on that because it's not going to block anything. It's not going to block any lights, it's not going to block any handles, and you can put all the bags back on it. So this thing will probably make its way to the trailer, but even if it doesn't, it's probably not going to stay on the Jeep, and I'll still keep the bags though, because the bags are awesome. I really like the bags a lot. So with that, I think it's time to end the video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate every single one of you who subscribe as well. You're making the channel what it is and helping it grow, and it's just it's a fantastic feeling, and from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate everyone who watches and subscribes to the channel. And with that, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.